Continuing with integrated responses to sodium intake. High sodium intake suppresses anti-natriuretic systems and activates the natriuretic systems. When sodium intake increases, there is no immediate increase in sodium excretion. This leads to increase in the ECF concentration, which causes 10 to 15% increase in the ECF volume and triggers and forms the trigger for initiating mechanisms for increased ECF excretion. These mechanisms are the following. Number one, the activation of the low pressure receptor reflexes. These originate from the stretch receptors of the right atrium and the pulmonary blood vessels. Signals from the stretch receptors go to brainstem and inhibit the sympathetic nerve activity to the kidneys, which decreases the tubular sodium reabsorption. This mechanism is very important in the first few hours or perhaps the first day after a large increase in salt and water intake. Number two, stimulation of the natriuretic systems, especially the atrial natriuretic peptide, which contributes further to increase the sodium excretion. Thus, combined activation of natriuretic system and suppression of sodium and water retaining system leads to increase in the sodium excretion when sodium intake is increased. Suppression of angiotensin II formation, which is caused by increased arterial pressure and ECF volume expansion, also decreases tubular sodium reabsorption. Also, reduced angiotensin II decreases aldosterone secretion, which further reduces tubular sodium reabsorption. When sodium intake increases, it causes the ECF volume to increase, which causes small increase in blood pressure, and this is enough to cause the pressure natriuresis. However, chronic increases in sodium intake for months and years will damage the kidneys, and the increase in BP is then required to cause the pressure natriuresis to maintain the sodium balance. Conditions that cause large increases in blood volume and extracellular fluid volume. In congestive heart failure, blood volume may increase 15 to 20% and the ECA volume sometimes increases by about 200% or more. Initially, heart failure reduces the cardiac output, which leads to a decrease in the blood pressure. As a result, this leads to activation of the low pressure receptor areas, which causes an activation of the sympathetic activity, leading to a decrease in GFR and activation of the multiple sodium retaining systems, especially the angiotensin II and the aldosterone. These lead to an increase in sodium and water retention, returning the ECF volume and blood pressure back towards normal. Therefore, the kidneys retain volume in an attempt to return the arterial pressure and cardiac output towards normal. If the heart failure is not too severe, then the blood volume increase can maintain adequate cardiac output. But if the heart failure is severe or heart is severely damaged, then increased blood volume and increased blood pressure cannot maintain adequate cardiac output, which leads to inadequate urine output. So the water is retained and circulatory congestion and pulmonary edema develops. Increased blood volume caused by increased capacity of circulation. Any condition which increases the vascular capacity will also cause the blood volume to increase in order to fill this extra capacity. An increase in vascular capacity initially reduces the mean circulatory filling pressure, which will lead to a decrease in the cardiac output and decreased arterial pressure. This fall in pressure causes salt and water retention by the kidneys until the blood volume increases sufficiently to fill the extra capacity. In case of pregnancy, the increased vascular capacity of the uterus, placenta, and other enlarged organs of the woman's body increases the blood volume by 15 to 25%. Patients who have large varicose veins of leg hold up an extra liter of blood. The blood volume simply increases to fill this extra vascular capacity. In these cases, salt and water are retained by the kidneys until the total vascular bed is filled enough to raise the blood pressure to the level required to balance the renal output of fluid with the daily intake of fluid. Conditions that cause increase in extracellular fluid volume but with normal blood volume. Conditions which cause leakage of fluid and protein into the interstitium tend to decrease the blood volume. The kidneys will respond to these conditions in a manner which is similar to that after hemorrhage. That is, the kidneys try to retain salt and water in order to restore the blood volume back towards normal. Much of the extra fluid leaks into the interstitium, causing edema. One such condition is nephrotic syndrome, where there is loss of plasma proteins in urine and sodium retention by the kidneys. The glomerular capillaries leak large amounts of proteins into the filtrate and the urine because of an increase in the permeability of the glomerulus. Plasma protein concentration can fall to less than 1/3 normal. As a result of decreased plasma protein concentration, the plasma colloid osmotic pressure falls to low levels. This causes the capillaries all over the body to filter large amounts of fluid into various tissues, which will cause edema and decrease the plasma volume. This leads to activation of various sodium retaining systems like renin-angiotensin system, aldosterone, and the sympathetic nervous system. The kidneys will continue to retain salt and water in order to bring the plasma volume back towards normal. However, much of this large amount of sodium and water retention leads to further dilution of the plasma proteins, and this causes still more fluid to leak, leading to edema. Another problem with a similar sequence of events is liver cirrhosis. There is decreased synthesis of plasma proteins by the liver and the sodium retention by the kidneys. Reduction in the plasma protein concentration results from destruction of the liver cells, thus reducing the ability of the liver to synthesize enough proteins. Cirrhosis is also associated with large amounts of fibrous tissue in the liver structure, which also impedes the flow of portal blood through the liver. This in turn raises the capillary pressure throughout the portal vascular bed, which also contributes to leakage of fluid and protein into the peritoneal cavity, a condition which is called ascites. Once the fluid and protein are lost from the circulation, kidneys retain salt and water until the plasma volume and arterial pressure are restored to normal. Plasma volume may actually increase above normal because of increased vascular capacity in cirrhosis. The high pressures in the portal circulation distend the veins and thus increase the vascular capacity.